Okay, the video I'm about to go through is going through the quiz from 4/22/16. I will be making a Symbaloo tile. Again, that link is pinned to the top of your Edmodo page because I feel a lot of you struggle with this quiz today, so I'm going to go through the solutions. I'm going to work these out. And if you still have questions, please come and see me next week. Again, I will be posting the alternate assignment on Monday morning when I get back to school. All right, so looking at the first one. Number one. Now, this is a central angle. It is involving the center. So this would be circle A. So if I want to do this problem, we have to remember the property that with central angles, the arc is the same. And it's not just any arc, it's the arc that's involved with this angle. So it would be find the ends of the rays here where they stop on that circle, and it's from B to C. So looking at the central angle, the arc, if I'm finding the measure of arc BC, it is going to be 47 degrees. All right, number two. Now, looking at number two, I have the center here, and it almost looks like a pizza that's been cut up very strangely, okay? But we're dealing with a circle. It's been sliced up in many different ways, and what they want to know is what is the measure of arc HJ? Well, first I need to find HJ, so find H all the way to J. So I want to know what that arc is. Well, I've got several different things that I can do to figure it out. There's many ways you can go about this problem. There's not one specific way. But let's see if I can figure this out. I'm going to get this angle right here first. If I know this from F to I is the diameter, I know that because it goes through the center. So I've got a semicircle on this side. I know that this piece is 1/16. So that means this arc right here, if I just do 180 minus 1/16, I'm going to get it. All right. So looking at that, that's going to give me that this arc here is 64 degrees. Just that piece from J to I. Well, I'm almost there. Not quite. Let's see, what else could I do? Oh, I could also look at the fact that I've got a diameter here also. So I know, again, central angles, that if I'm looking at this, this piece is 55 degrees. So if I want to find out the remaining blue piece, I can simply go 180 minus 64 minus 55. And I'm going to get it. Right? And I get 61. So that's 61 degrees. So I've got the two numbers I need. I know from H to I and I to J. Totaling the entire piece up, I get 61 plus 64, and that's going to give me 125 degrees, and that is the measure of arc HJ. Again, is this the only way you could have done this problem? Most certainly not. It's all about what you see, but the big key point is the fact that I'm using central angles. Okay? Next question. So looking at this, and again, I even had some people in class today tell me several different ways, after we kind of went over it a little bit, about how you could get this answer. And it doesn't really matter. Here's some things I noticed. I noticed that this time I'm dealing with inscribed angles. Now, instead of being the same as the arc that is involved with this inscribed angle, okay, so this intercepted arc of this angle is F to E. And again, we call that an intercepted arc. Remember that they're not the same. This angle is going to be half of that arc. All right? So looking at the problem, I need to use the numbers that I've got. I've got, if I just want to look at the bottom half of this, a semicircle. which is half of 360, which is 180. So, you know what, gosh, if I could just figure out what this arc is right here, I could just take half of it and have my answer. So, I could do, to get this piece of it, I can do 180 minus 94. So, if we do 180 minus 94, we get 86. So, I know that this arc right here is 86 degrees. Let me clean that up a little bit. So, if I want to go back to this inscribed angle this time, I just take half of it. So half of 86 is going to give me 43 degrees, and that is the answer that I want. Next, this one. Again, guys, you have to pick out the things that aren't important, okay? So I'm wanting to find this angle. So if I look from HMF, so I want to know the measure of angle HMF. Well, first of all, I have to figure out, is it a central angle? Or is it an inscribed? It's an inscribed angle. How do I know? Its vertex is lying on the circle. Okay? So let's see. I need to figure out what its intersected arc is. All the way from H to F. Well, I know H to G, they tell me from this point to this one is 90. If I could just figure out the rest of it. Just figure out the rest of it. Well, I know that this is 80. That might be helpful. You know what? I know that this entire arc from H all the way over to F, okay, is going to be, well, 80's been cut in half, y'all. Again, 80 is an inscribed angle. This number had to be cut in half of whatever that arc was. Well, to work backwards, if that number's been cut in half, I'm just going to double it. So if I double it, I know that this entire arc was 160 degrees. And again, my final question, is right here. What's the measure of that arc GF? After all, that's where the question mark is here. Well, if the whole thing's 160, and I know a chunk of it's 90, if I just take that chunk out, in other words, if I just subtract it away, I will get the answer that I want. 160 minus 90, I get 70 degrees is the measure of that arc. All right. Last one. So looking at this one. This time I want to know what is the measure of RSQ. Again, I have to think, what kind of angle am I dealing with? And it's definitely an inscribed angle because that vertex is on the circle. So gosh, if I could just figure out what its intersected arc is, I would be in good shape. I think that's pretty easy to do. They give me that from R to S, so over here is 152. They tell me that from S to Q right here is 70. Well, all the way around the circle is 360 degrees. So if I want to find, so my first step in this particular problem, I need to find the arc. So I realize I can do that by saying 360 minus 70 minus 152. That's 138 degrees. Putting that here. Now, on the second step, I have to realize, and I have to know a property of inscribed angles. Remember, inscribed angles are half of what their intersected arc was. So, I'm just going to take 138, cut that sucker in half, and I wind up with 69 degrees for my answer. So again, found what they wanted, 69 degrees. Again, that was the quiz that was taken in class. Those of you that missed will get a different quiz, same kinds of questions, okay, but a different one. I hope this really helps you going into next week as we do the final week of circles.